All right. Ready for another arguing with paint for an hour. We're gonna figure out how to do leather in a old, disgusting way today. And then we're also gonna do a little bit more of the filigree, possibly. And then we might tackle a little bit of the weapon. But I'm gonna try something that I haven't tried before on the leather. And we're going to see if it works out. We're going to learn together. Okay. Switch to painting. Here's our message from last time. Now let's think of a new one. Now it's going to be leather hands. So let's see. Cracked is good. At least that's for today. That's what we're going for. Because this old leather is going to look like it's been used a lot. Even though, why do they have leather over their metal gauntlets? I have no... It doesn't help with anything. It's possibly for grip, but the weapons have grip, so I don't know what the purpose of it is, but it's cool looking. At least, you know, when it's all painted. Let's see if we can draw anything good today. Let's do maybe more birds. This is either a kiwi or a dodo. I like him though. Let's get started. Okay. So the brown that we already have on the leather from one of our first videos See, I think I'm focused up. Good. Is this one here. It's an oak brown. So it's a ruddy brown. That means it's got like a blue hue, but that does not mean that we have to keep it that way. You can kind of see it there. A little bit of a bluish, but that's only if you're paying attention to it. For the highlights, because this is what's gonna make it look cracked and ruddy or old, is gonna be two variants. So, Paratrooper Tan and Urban Buff. These seem really light, but we're gonna go over it at the end with either a wash or a speed paint to kind of unify the tones and make it look really gross. So this one is gonna be your main kind of thick highlight. It's gonna be like where we have maybe the knuckle, and then we have the larger seams, and then this is what we're gonna use to make it look cracked. So we're gonna use this to do little hatching to give it that straight line cracks, like when you see a leather bound book, if you bend it enough times, that's what you're gonna see. So let's get started. Palette cam. Nice stain. Start with the Paratrooper Tan. Way too much paint for this tiny area, but fine. Okay. And then I think for the wash that we're going to use at the end, we're going to thin down some Satchel Brown. See how dark this is? This is going to really darken up these. So that's why they seem so light, is because they kind of have to be if we're going to use a really dark tone to unify everything at the end. Okay. Zoom in. Are we focused? I think we are. No, we're not. Manual focus. There we go. Okay. So for this, we're going to try and be neat as much as we can, but because we have the original color and we haven't done any washes yet, we can always fix it. So you don't have to be so neat. In fact, if you go over a little bit, like make the line a little too thick, it's going to be easy to come back with the brown oak, or what was it? Oak brown, and kind of do a little bit of fixing to make it a thinner line. So let's give this a try here. Also, don't worry about the fingers of the gauntlet hand because it's still black. You can always fix it. This is kind of why we chose the order of operations here, is that do things that you can still fix. Do not have steady hands today. So see, kind of a thick line. Does not need to be super, super neat. Because we're going to come back and either make it thinner with brown, or you actually want it to be that thick to give it a really weathered look at the end. And you'll see what I mean when we do the wash. We do a little hatching. So the key here is don't be afraid. Could be the key to a lot of stuff. Be brave. And something else to remember, it's something that I've learned from experience. When you say, I'm gonna make it look better, typically you make it look worse. Especially if it was good to begin with, but as painters, that's really hard to tell. So do your best to appreciate what you've done so that you preserve the good things that you started with. There we go. Oh, by the way, I had a semi-hit tweet earlier. Somebody posted a photo of a very close-up shot of paint with little like dust particles in it, like little hairs. And I'm already seeing that on here, and it's driving me crazy. We need to have painting tents, hermetically sealed environments with zero dust, the same level of silicone chip manufacturing. But no, we can't afford that. Not yet, anyway. And that would only make our paint 1% better for the people who get up that close. Because always remember that people are going to be viewing this from probably what? Like 4 feet away? Not going to see any of that stuff, but it'll be obscured until some greasy guy comes in and picks up your stuff. Says, wow, that looks pretty good. You really could have done better on the highlighting, and they've never painted before. They have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Ignore them forever. Okay. I'm gonna bring this a little closer. See if we can see what I've done here. So very chunky highlights in the obvious places. So we're gonna make them thinner by coming back in the middle of those highlights or on the edges of those highlights with the original color. And it's gonna do two things. It's gonna make them thinner, but it might even, because you're gonna go with a little bit lighter coat, give it a nice transition. So always remember that, especially with highlights and highlights on stuff like this, it might be better to do a thick, chunky highlight at first. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm making this all up as we go. That looked really good when I was shaking the paint at the same time. Folks, you can always see my hands. Okay. Get a little of this oak brown. Let's tidy up a little bit. Same brush, not a different one. There we go. So making it a little thinner. But don't be too concerned, because you're going to come back with an even lighter color to make the hatching that we talked about. The little scuffs and dings. Like I said just a second ago. Oh, I was trying to make it look better, and oh, I messed up the thing that looks really good. Be confident in what you did originally. Everyone's gonna like what you did. Trust me. You've just gotta believe. Okay. Now let's go to that sharp point brush, or at least sharp and pointier. This is going to be that Tamiya that I had. Now, actually be careful with this one, because I found kind of a really lame effect that this particular brush has. You have to make sure that when you're cleaning it in between, that you get as much water off as possible, because it will store it in the head of the brush, in the belly of the brush, I should say. And it'll be dry at first, then all of a sudden you'll get a big old drip of paint come off of it, and you're like, where the hell did that come from? So I can't actually safely recommend this brush to everybody. Figured that out the hard way. Let's see if it does it to me again. And if it does, we can always fix it. but the point is pointy enough. So this is that lighter color. I'm going to try and make straight line, kind of cross hatches as random as I can. You don't have to be big. This is just to really kind of accentuate the use of the knuckles. Sometimes even like just little dots. Remember the stipple also works if you don't want it, if you don't have a thin enough brush to do the hatching effect. Little dots randomized, or as random as you can. Make it look like there's particularly deep little gashes in that leather. Something like this. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not gonna use this brush anymore. I just cleaned it, and I know that it's gonna store a bunch of water in there. I'm actually gonna get a slightly smaller brush, micro brushes here. What do I have? I have that same brand of synthetic acrylic brush, black gold, the 3-0, so it's very thin. Now, you don't have to be like me and be all pretentious, like, oh, I have this tiny little brush. You don't need it for most applications. I'm being hyper scrutinous, I guess, with myself, because I wanna make it look nice for you. I wanna make it look real nice for the pictures. For all the wonderful people on X and Instagram. All 3 likes that I'm gonna get. But you know what? I'll show it to somebody and they're gonna be like, that looks really cool. I mean, like, it's awesome that you're able to do that. And you'll get that little moment. That's what it's all about, those little moments. I hope that you get them often. Not in camera. The whole point of this thing. Okay. So as you can see, I've done all these little dings and marks and stuff like that with the lighter color, just to try to give it some more definition. Do one more right here. Now let's see if this was all pointless by putting this on there to cover the whole thing. But this is meant to just make it darker. Make it look like a super dark old leather. Let's see if the effect will work. If not, who cares? The key for this will be use just a little, and if you can, thin it out. I don't have any speed paint medium for 2 reasons. One, I just didn't think to get any, but also it's really expensive, and you get just this little bottle. Arm painter, what's up with that? Give me like one of these. Give me a golden paint medium of one of them. Because if it's supposed to be just a medium, why don't you buy? Like, I'm gonna be mixing a lot of it. At least you'd think so. Send the check, Army Painter. Okay. Hooks back up. Let's see if we'll ruin it. I'm trying to make it look better. In the process, I made it look worse. That's usually what happens. Okay. might have been, we might have done a good job here. Actually, we did a very good job here. This is looking a lot better than I thought. Now, hopefully, it dries the way that I think it's gonna. So, you probably can't see because I'm not in camera. Don't you love that, folks? Learning to paint on camera and you need it too close to your face, so you just do everything off camera and then show like, no, I totally did it. God, unprofessional. Okay. So, let's see if I can focus up. So it's still drying, but that hard leather really darkened everything up. But we still have those areas where we hit it with the lighter color coming out as soon as it finishes drying. And I think that's pretty good. You might even use the super light versions of brown in more areas here to give it a little bit of a higher well, see, I'm already doing it. I'm already doing the trying to make it look better, and I made it look worse because if I put another coat of that speed paint, it's gonna overpower it and then take away the effect that I did. So we won't do that. How about that? Yeah, no, we're not gonna do it. So let's tackle the other one. Let's do the same technique. See if we can't do it better this time. Even better. Start with a chunky highlight, and I think we're gonna go chunkier because I'm learning from the other one. How thin it is actually made it harder to see those effects. So I'm gonna try to leave it a little thinner and see how that works. Or leave it thicker. Sorry. My brain, the paint fumes. And remember, everybody, miniature painting is 10% skill, 90% pretending that you didn't mess up and hoping nobody noticed. 100% true. If anyone tells you different, they've never won a contest or painted a miniature in their life. Okay. Continuing with the thick highlights. We're being brave. Especially on this one. This one's a little bit more showcased. It's going to be touching the weapon, and everybody wants to see the weapon. The big gun. So accentuate the areas or be bolder in the areas where people see. Or big focal points. On a custodian, that's things like the pauldrons, the helmet, and the cape if it's a warden. I need to get a autofocus camera. If we blow up, which we definitely will. God, I hope so. That'd be cool. I'll get all this stuff so you guys can see. Maybe even a wide angle lens so I stay in the frame. Here we go. Okay. much chunkier, much bolder highlights there. I'm gonna leave like that. I'll leave it like leave English, the English language. This is my third or fourth language. Okay, coming back with the lighter tone. And because they're chunky highlights, we can be a little bit chunkier with this and see how that goes. I'm gonna use the dot effect on this side. Except for the flat plane here. See if I can get a little bit of hatching. Still throw a few dots in there. Really mess it up. This guy's been punching a lot of people in the face. Punching a lot of clowns in the face. Saying like, stop right there, you crap. You're gonna be breaking the law in my town. Wrong setting. Okay. Yeah. Lot bolder here. A lot more thick, chunky highlights, which I think is going to look a little bit better than the other one. If it looks a whole lot better, I mean, we might do the other one again, but you know what? No, we're not. We're posting everything on stream. We're doing 100% real, no coming back and fixing it off camera. This is the truth stream, folks. We only do live painting on this guy, because I want you all to see just how it really goes. None of this fake produced stuff. So miniature painting is really like sitting alone for hours talking to yourself like a crazy person. Making a tiny plastic soldier that maybe 6 people will observe. No, I'm just kidding. Do what you love. That's what makes this fun. Don't ever let anybody discourage you from doing things that you love. Especially if it's niche and weird. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. So when it dries, it's going to look more uniform and it's going to look more weather than the other one. It does not mean that this one looks bad. Okay. So next, we can play with the... You know what we can do? Actually, let's do this. Let's learn how to use Silly Putty, if I can find it. Oh, maybe not. Hope I didn't lose it. Dang, I wanted to do the pauldron. Okay. Well then, what's next? What else is leather? Oh! The scabbard. And then the leather bits on the belt. We can do that. Why not? And also the underside of the gloves. Actually, let's do the underside of the gloves really quick. In focus. Thick, chunky. The underside of the gloves, no one is gonna see. No one's gonna flip over your model and be like, did the detail extend to the rest of it? Or is it gonna be just the top, like an amateur? And you can say, you have a serious problem, buddy. This is you talking to the judge of a painting contest, by the way. It's always good to scream at them and tell them that they have a problem. That'll let you win. That'll get you to the finals. Belligerency. in bad sportsmanship. When in doubt, punch the ref. No, don't do that. Okay. Nice thick highlights under the glove, not on top. A few more. Yeah, no one's gonna see this. It's impossible to see this area, but we're trying hard, folks. We're doing 110%. In your mental health, take it. Mine can't. Send help. I'm just kidding. I'm fine. I enjoy this immensely. This is my favorite thing to do. I even do this off stream. Can you believe it? I spend time setting up this whole thing so I can do it with people. And then I get up and think, oh man, that was refreshing. You know what I could go for? More of that, but privately. I want to do things even weirder. Okay. Man, this underside of the clip is turning out so good. Too bad nobody will see it. Now I gotta figure out a way to organically, in a public situation or a tournament, say like, oh man, I hope that people don't notice how badly I did the underside of the gloves. So they go, oh, let me take a look, and guess what? Looks better than the top. You got bamboozled, son. Now you have a worse opinion of yourself, just like your parents said that you were. You all have extreme value to me. Don't be discouraged. I'm gonna show you one of my first minis on here. I think I even have my first one somewhere. I need to find them. Can you guess which faction it was? Like, comment, subscribe to find out. The sixth version will shock you. Okay. So underside of the glove, done. Let's do the other one. Angle change. We're definitely gonna hit the bottom of the weapon here. That's okay. But it's still black. We can fix it. Okay. Thick highlight. I wonder if anybody would like to paint with me. Like, maybe it would be fun to do a situation where live somebody says, okay, now you can only use this color, and see what we get. Like you have you can do highlights in any color you want. Like, okay, doing the glove, do a poll on what color you want, and then the highlight's still going to be the same technique. Like, we're going to do base, highlight, focal effects, like the slashes that I was talking about, and then the wash. If we do that, I wonder how that would turn out. Probably terrible. So we'd be like black again. But hopefully People want it to turn out nice. They don't want it to turn out nice. They want it to be they want it to be their special color. They're gonna say like, oh man, that's my contribution to the thing, not the project as a whole. Look at that. I've made him put green on the on a place that doesn't have green anything in it, or is a contrasting or complementary color. It's totally tangential and unrelated. They can come. They can come. They can join. They can still hang out. They're fine. They have feelings too. Okay. Yeah, I definitely got this all over the weapon, but that's okay. Again, it's the bottom part that we're gonna still paint black. By the way, if anyone's wondering, they're not. Why I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt today. I was almost gonna be late for stream. I was doing some casual errands, and I had my sweet pink Tommy B that I was like, you know, I feel like being a little nicer dressed today instead of wearing sweatpants and a tank top with a big mustard stain on the front. I said, you know what, I'm gonna look like a member of society, and I kept it on. Again, nobody cares. They didn't notice because they're paying attention to the model. Not what I'm wearing. Are you crazy? The answer is yes. Okay. So we did the gloves. Now we're gonna do a little more of the leather work. We're gonna do the belt here and the little accessories that are attached to the belt. Just in the base brown, because it's still the same leather. It's not a different leather. Some people say, you need to use a different hue. You should have made it a different skin, because you wouldn't use the same material. It has a different tensile strength. That's what we say to them. That's not realistic. I'm still thinking this has actually happened. It's such a wonderful community of painters where it has been scrutinized. We're like, actually, the different materials used should be reflected in the artwork because it's not telling the right story. It's not telling the right story. And I'm like, I want to roll dice. It's okay. This is a lot more to some people than others. Not that it's not a lot to me. I like it. I like it. I like it enough to do this. I like it enough to do this at live. Possibly embarrass myself, although some people seem to like it. So it makes me happy. I hope you guys continue to like it. I hope that this brings somebody joy in addition to myself. That'd be cool. I haven't looked at chat. I probably should. Oh no, Ozzy! Thank you for chatting. I hadn't seen the whole time, but I appreciate you engaging with me. I don't know what you said wait for real to. I hope it was something important that I can answer for you later. I'll tweet at you or something. It seems like you're not here anymore. Okay. Going. There's one section here that's hard to see because I painted it with the same color as the rest of the cape. Oh, I feel so bad now. All I can think about. I ignored my one and only chatter. I promise I wasn't. I was looking at the wrong screen. Okay. Belt's looking pretty good. He's got a little thunderbolt here that's attached by a little clip to the belt. Pretty hard to see, but that's gonna look really good when we eventually do that. Okay. Oh, just a little satchel here. Something that also happens when you're painting miniatures. You go blind. You miss stuff that is so obvious. You're like, man, this section looks great. I can't believe how well this turned out. And then you'll notice that you left an area completely unpainted that is inaccessible by any natural brush that you could ever conceive of without messing up that other area. So just know that's going to happen to you. And be okay with it. Like, come to terms with that now. There we go. I didn't touch the cape with the brown brush. Yay for me. That's also the other thing that'll happen, is that you'll be going after your little area that you're not worried about, then totally ruin another area. Oh man, here comes story time. You know, that reminds me of, you know, when you were a kid and you were playing, you had a video game that you really played for a long time. You got pretty far, and then your cousin comes over and erases your memory card, formats it on accident, air quotes, and then your parents or whoever it is that's gonna be calming you down because you're so upset. It's like, isn't the fun of the game to start over and play from the beginning? The answer is no. The answer is absolutely not. That was the worst feeling growing up. Oh man. Little cousins. It's the best thing to ever happen to young children. You learn a lot. You learn a lot of emotional control. You learn a lot of tact, and you learn about life, about all the future disappointments that are gonna come. But that's okay. I love you, cousins. valuable lessons. Okay. I'm getting a little too obsessive here. So next thing is going to be those highlights again. I'm a little... Actually, wait. Somebody said it on Twitter earlier. A lot of the stuff is going to be done from the side here. So there's some areas that, like, especially this piece of leather that folds over the cape, it's actually got a pretty pronounced side profile. I am going to use a teeny tiny brush for this. The key for something like this is to sort of do, let's see if I can emulate it, if you can see it on screen. Look at my finger motion. I am sort of, I'm resting everything on the table. Everything is super stabilized, or as stabilized as you can be. Don't try and do this all in one go. I'm using barely the tip of the brush and sort of feathering across the top. And it's gonna dry out. Be okay with that. You don't need to be one pass and it's done. You're gonna do maybe 2 passes, 3 passes on this to get full coverage, because that does make a difference, especially if you're doing any kind of up close shots. What should I do for the chatter that I completely ignored? Ozzy. I'm gonna shout you out in a tweet. And there's gonna be an eternal record of me talking about you. There we go. Okay, so you can't see it, but that's on purpose. So I definitely did a pretty good job of getting that side without touching the cape, because it would be pretty obvious if I did, because of the contrasting brown to the red. Now, well, it could be, there are worse colors that could be. Brown and red, pretty close on the spectrum. I should not make that joke. Okay, I'm gonna make the joke because so this was the joke that popped up in my head. What if there was a color theory video called On the Spectrum? Huh? I apologize. Okay. Thick highlights. Oh, wrong color. Don't do the thick highlights in the super light tone. Okay. This one you do have to be just a little bit more careful. Not on the top part, but when you get to the cape, absolutely. Take your time. Do not be rushed. No one's gonna take the model from you. Okay. I hated that as a kid. You ever been told no one's gonna take it from you when you're doing something? and you're doing it like passionately. I remember, I think I was drawing or something like as a little kid. No, I was drawing. I was definitely drawing. I was drawing, and my and this is like my first grade teacher or something like that. Said, "Why do you hold it so close to your face like somebody's gonna take it from you?" And I really remember like being upset by that. I remember thinking like, "Do you not get it? Do you not get that I'm trying to be detailed? I'm an artist. This is for you." Okay. I just realized I'm highlighting brown metal parts. It's okay. So it's all gonna look good. Get near the cape again. Remember what I said. Rest on something if you can. Light feathering. And I'm doing spaces in between the highlight here. It does not have to be perfect, especially because this is supposed to be old, worn out leather. If somehow I could, I would make these little strips be like frayed and broken at the ends. That would look really cool. Okay. So we've got little stipples. Little stipple effect back here. That's gonna look real good when we do that wash over it. Just the same way we did for the gloves. Okay. Do some extra highlighting here with the lighter tone. Being careful not to... This would definitely show on the cape. This is almost a white. So be careful. Okay. Pretty good. Let's do the wash. See how it turned out. Oops, that's too thick. Again, like I said about these paints in particular, the Army Painter speed paints and the washes, they have got some serious thickness to them if they dry. So like, I don't have an example here, but like I have a tin little, oh, actually no, here's the perfect example. So here's the tip of the applicator. That's hard. So it creates this little like plastic sheath around it because the paint dries so solidly. That's pretty crazy. So if like you were to get that into a recess and let it pool and it dried, it wouldn't flatten out. It would stay as like a little solid piece of plastic. So be careful with that. Okay, being super careful with this super liquidy paint. Not getting it on the cape. Remember physics, remember your physics class. Surface tension. Be careful. I think we managed to do it. Without hurting that cape. Good. Well, all right. Okay, let's see how we've done today. That front arm, you know what? Paving. Doing a little bit more chunky highlights on here. Remember what I said at the beginning? I tried to make it look better, ended up making it look worse. That's gonna be the title of this video. Remember, kids, when you try to make it look better, it's gonna look worse. Okay, leaving the thick highlights. Coming back with the lighter color. But you see how easy this was? This whole process was pretty easy. For leather, leather's pretty fun because you can get some pretty sweet looking leather with pretty minimal effort. There's lots of browns and reds. Red leather is pretty fun. I did that on a bike. Custodes, the hover bike? I forget what they're called. There's the V. Somebody's gonna name it in a tweet or something. Okay. So way thicker highlighting there. Way thicker. Give this a try. Going back over it with that thin down. Hardened leather. Speed paint. See what that looks like when it dries. Okay. One more section done. Some leather bits. So we got the gloves, a little more grim darked up, a little more character to them. To the back belt. That gold is still looking good. Oh, I forgot to do the face. You know, we'll end with that. We'll do that. We'll do the face Aquila. It was strong skin shade that we used. Because it's a warm wash. This one we can be a little bit more liberal because we want it to get into those recesses and really make it look nasty. And then when that dries, we come back and make it look shiny with the gold highlights. Okay. Looking good. All right, folks. Thank you again, Ozzy Boy, for chatting. I'm so sorry that I ignored your chats. I didn't mean to. I was in the wrong chat box. But if you aren't too upset by it, please come back next time. Love to have you. We can go over things together next time. But thanks everybody for joining who took the time to view my little stream here. We're going to keep working on this guy. We're getting close to we're more than halfway done. We're more than halfway done. The rest of the stuff is going to get into some detail. So, thanks again. See you next time.